In the scorching heat of a dusty California farm, lived an old woman. She and her late husband had built a life together, with vast lands, flourishing cornfields, and strong, healthy animals. But now, with him gone, she was alone. Her only daughter lived with her, along with her husband, a man who seemed to prefer sleep over work. The old woman's knees ached, and her strength had faded. Her days were spent in a rocking chair in the hallway, her eyes fixed on the distant horizon, lost in memories of a happier past. Her daughter, once a cheerful bright-eyed child, had grown impatient and hard. She offered little help around the farm. Her husband would occasionally lend a hand, but mostly, he just lay around, a picture of idleness. The farm, once so vibrant, was slowly succumbing to neglect. One evening, as the food supplies dwindled, the couple spoke in hushed tones. The husband broke the silence. "If we don't do something, we'll have nothing left to eat." The daughter's reply was chillingly simple. "The solution is easy." The next morning, the old woman was startled from her rocking chair by the sounds of chaos. She heard boxers being dragged, hurried footsteps, and sharp, loud voices. Venturing outside, she saw her daughter and son-in-law piling her belongings onto the street, her clothes, her shoes, her cherished blankets. "What are you doing?" she asked, her voice trembling with disbelief. "Mother, you must go," her daughter said, refusing to meet her gaze. "We can't continue like this. We need the space." The old woman whispered, the words catching in her throat. There was no answer. Her son-in-law slammed the last box onto the dusty ground, turned, and disappeared back inside, the slam of the door echoing the finality of their decision. Her daughter walked away without a single touch, a final, cold farewell. The old woman collapsed onto the front step, her body racked with sobs. She cried until the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. But as darkness fell, a spark of defiance ignited within her. She had a secret she had kept even from her daughter. Years ago, while her husband was still alive, she had discreetly sold off small parcels of their land over time, hiding the proceeds in a sturdy stone box buried near the old cowpan. With newfound resolve, she rose to her feet. Her frail hands moved the heavy stones, revealing the hidden box. Inside was a fortune, enough to start anew. She gathered her few possessions from the street and, without a backward glance, began her slow journey down the dirt road, the familiar cornfields standing as silent witnesses to her departure. Meanwhile, her daughter and son-in-law settled into the old house, blissfully unaware of the treasure they had driven away. That night, they slept soundly in the home they had stolen. The old woman walked until she reached a neighboring farm. The owners, who remembered her and her husband from years past, welcomed her with open arms. They offered her a warm meal, a comforting cup of tea, and a small, clean room to rest. They treated her with the respect she deserved. The following morning, she asked if there was any land for sale in the area. "Why, yes, ma'am. There are a few farms nearby," they informed her. With the money from her hidden box, she purchased a large, promising piece of land. Her new neighbors, touched by her story and impressed by her resilience, rallied around her. They helped her build a strong, new wooden house, a symbol of her rebirth. She even found a new friend, a kind-hearted local boy who was always eager to help. He would carry water for her, feed her chickens, and gather firewood, his youthful energy a welcome presence. The community embraced her. She was known for her warm smile and the tea she always offered to visitors. She never spoke of her daughter. Back at the old farm, life was grim. The ungrateful couple lived in idleness, and the house began to fall apart around them. The yard became a jungle of weeds. One scorching morning, driven by hunger, the son-in-law decided to look for work. He walked for miles under the relentless sun until he stumbled upon a beautiful, well-kept farm. He knocked on the door, hoping for a day's labor. "You?" he stammered, his eyes wide with shock. "Yes," she replied calmly. "I need work," he said, his voice laced with nervousness. "I have nowhere to go." The old woman nodded. "You must never tell your wife about this farm, or that you've seen me." Desperate, he quickly promised, "Okay, I promise." He fed the chickens, cleaned the yard, and tended to her small but thriving cornfield. Every day, the old woman would ask him the same question: "How is my daughter?" And every day, he would give the same vague answer: "She is at home, doing her things." But one day, his wife's suspicion got the better of her. She followed him. She found the beautiful farm, the sturdy house, the clucking chickens in the yard. Seeing her husband working, and her mother presiding over it all, she erupted in a furious shout. "All this time, you lived here in comfort while I starved." The old woman listened patiently until her daughter's tirade ran out of steam. "Are you finished?" she asked, her voice even. "You left me," the daughter accused. The old woman's response was measured and firm. "You left me on the street with nothing but the clothes on my back. But I didn't know you had money." The daughter cried. "Even if you had known," the old woman replied, "it would not have changed a thing." The daughter, consumed by greed, demanded money, the house, everything. The old woman simply pressed a few coins into her hand and quietly closed the door. She and her husband quickly wasted the small amount of money on a meager meal, assuming more would be forthcoming. They stopped working altogether, convinced that they would eventually inherit the new farm when the old woman passed away. Their old house fell further into ruin until they were forced to sell it, along with the land, for a pittance. They had no idea that the old woman had already made her final decision. She had no intention of leaving her hard-earned legacy to the daughter who had shown her no love. Instead, her heart had settled on the kind boy who had been her loyal companion. As the years passed, the old woman grew frail. Knowing her time was short, she drew up a will. "My farm, my home, and all I possess will go to the boy who helped me when I had no one else." She passed away peacefully in her bed, in the house she had built from scratch. Her daughter and son-in-law, hearing the news, rushed to the farm, expecting their inheritance. They found the door locked. The neighbors informed them of the old woman's passing and the contents of her will. The farm now belonged to the boy. The daughter stood in shocked silence, while her husband raged. They had nothing. No house, no land, no inheritance. Their greed had left them destitute. The daughter and her husband left the village, shamed and broken, and were never seen again. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more.